British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson softening the Brexit and other Brexit supporters in making concessions, joining them in saying or making concessions. Johnson acknowledging the UK will have to pay to leave the EU. He told the BBC Radio today, of course, we will meet our obligations, keeping in mind that this after labelling the purported $120 billion bill as extortionate. Emma Ross-Thomas's London Bureau Chief, a U-turn from the Foreign Secretary?
Well, yeah, this is Boris Johnson who said that the EU could go whistle if it wanted, if it thought it was going to get any money from the UK with Brexit. Now, he said today that when he said go whistle, what he really meant was if they wanted 100 billion euros. What he's also, so he's kind of falling into line. It's been a rather silent summer for Boris. We have been slightly wondering, what he was thinking as the other Brexiteers fell into line, started to come out and say that a transition would be okay, that, 2-year, 3-year transition would be okay. Boris was silent, and we didn't know whether Boris was sort of planning a leadership bid and therefore was keeping his powder dry. Anyway, he's come out and said that transition of 1, 2 or 3 years
is another
is fine.
Sort of U-turn-ish for him.
Yeah. And
so the cabinet's united?
To an extent. We hear that basically Hammond, Chancellor Executive Hammond, who is pro-business and pro-sort of soft Brexit, we hear that he has been sort of sitting down with colleagues and explained to them just how complex it is, the sort of intricacies of this, what it means in real terms. He listens to businesses, and what we hear is that he's been sort of sitting them down and explaining the nitty-gritty. Also fair to point out that the Brexiteers are getting what they want. The UK government has said they're leaving the single market, leaving the customs union. So to a certain extent, they're getting
ECJ's a bit blurry, isn't it? And we had the position papers this week. A day or two on, was that a climb down from May, or was it not a climb down from May? It's
clear that previously she had said that Brexit meant leaving the jurisdiction of the ECJ. Now what they're saying is they will leave the direct jurisdiction, and they're opening the possibility of the Norway model. Now, Norway is a member of the single market, isn't in the European Union, and there's a court called the EFTA court, which tends to follow the rulings of the ECJ.
So critics say, oh, but you're still under the guise of the ECJ then?
Yeah, but any kind of deal was always going to be impossible without an arbitration mechanism that was acceptable to both sides.